Mr. Alvin.
Present.
Mr. Esplota.
Present.
Councilwoman Ivey.
Here.
Mr. East.
Present.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Mr. Jang.
Present.
Mr. Long. Mr. Murdoch.
Here.
And Chair Sheedy.
All right, here.
We have a forum.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, do you have any public comment?
We do have one public comment from Mr. Brian Moss of the Reno Aces.
All right, Brian. Good
Go
to
Aces.
see you. Go Aces.
All people. Good morning, everybody, members of the Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority. I would like to take a moment to express my heartfelt thanks for support in bringing the Savannah Party Animals to Reno for the 2025 season. This is an exciting moment for our community as we welcome a team that's known for its high energy, fast paced, and wildly entertaining brand of banana ball. Having the Party Animals call Greater Nevada Field home for 3 nights in May of 2025 is a significant opportunity for our city. Not only will it draw fans from across Northern Nevada, but will also attract visitors from outside our region who want to experience this unique event. This kind of sports entertainment helps put Reno on the map, bringing economic benefits to our local businesses and increasing visibility for the biggest little city. We all know that the Reno area has a rich history of having top tier events, and this collaboration with the Party Animals is a testament to that. The atmosphere of these games will be electric, and I have no doubt it will create lasting memories for the thousands who attend. Thank you again for the continued support of making Reno a destination for exciting and innovative entertainment. We are thrilled to welcome the Party Animals to Northern Nevada and look forward to an incredible 2025 season. Additionally, I would like to thank Mike Largetta and Valerie Segura for quickly seizing the opportunity for the RCVA to partner with us as the sole sponsor of this event. It shows tremendous trust that this board has in them to make decisions on events like these for our community when they present themselves. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's so cool. Just give us a little idea of like what they do. I mean, I've just heard a lot of buzz around them. What can we expect?
Championship.
So, thank you, Madam Chair. Mike Largetta for the record. I think maybe this most recognizable, simplistic way to describe this is Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. But they play to compete. And I'll give an update a little bit on this endeavor. And when I explain the magnitude of their fan base and the demand,
Yeah.
I think the board will be pleasantly surprised that they're coming to Reno.
That's so
It's impressive.
cool. I love that.
What are the dates?
It is the weekend right after Memorial Day, so the games will be played on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
That's the
30th, I believe, is Friday, May
okay.
30th. 30th.
Okay, everyone put in their calendar. Go right ahead.
No, I just also, well, Brian, otherwise I piggyback when you talk, Mike, later on, but while Brian's here, but I just want to compliment to the whole Aces experience.
Yeah.
I almost said it's a home run, I don't. It is such a, it is, and I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm a huge, though, the way that you run the event, the venue, is such a quality experience that I think
So
it really is an asset to our whole tourism offering. When we have people in town, and again, they may not necessarily follow the specific team, but you go there and it's just a great way and honestly, great value for family. And you guys do a great job.
I'm glad you recognize that. I don't think it's easy and they do amazing.
Day in and day out. That's a lot of events to put on.
Yeah.
So it's definitely recognized. Thank you.
All right, well, Mike, make sure you wrangle all of us. We could be there for the night.
We could be the
We-
opposing team.
We can be the opposing team.
We will definitely do that.
Mike, what is the name of the opposing team, Mike? What are the teams?
So the firefighters,
Yes.
the Party Animals versus the firefighters.
Okay, well, Charlene, you'll be on the firefighter.
You got it.
We'll be on the party animals. All right, awesome. Okay, anyone else?
No other public comment.
Okay, great. Then I'm gonna ask for an approval for the consent agenda. May I get a motion?
And there would be consent agenda.
Thank you. I have a motion from.
Second.
Second from Rick. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item C2, approval of the minutes. May I get a motion? Oh, we did? Oh, because that's consent. Oh, mine's, oh. All right, okay. I love that. We should do that for the city. I have to stop for every single one. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We do have a presentation, item D1. Unfortunately, I have to leave. I think, are you going to,
I was going to see
what I
you were
do?
going to do.
Yeah, okay, so here, I've got a plan.
Okay.
We are gonna skip down to, board matters. That's gonna be item E1, and then we will come back, to the presentation. So that way we can get business out of the way. Sound good?
Perfect.
Okay, so, I'm gonna send it to you, Mr. Larragetta, item E1.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For record, Mike Larragetta. So E1 is review, discussion, and possible action regarding legislative priorities for the upcoming legislative session. Jesse Wadhams, with the law firm of Black and Wadhams, as the RCV's retained government affairs firm, will discuss the upcoming legislative session and issues which may impact or be of interest to the RCBA. The board may consider, discuss, and take action to direct Mr. Wadhams to pursue RCBA priorities initiatives in the upcoming legislative session, including amendment of NRS 244A.601 to revise the manner in which board members are appointed and or reappointed to the board, as well as eligibility requirements or election to serve as chair of the board.
Okay,
Mr. Wadhams.
hello, Jesse, nice to see you.
Madam Mayor, appreciate being here, board members. Again, for the record, my name is Jesse Wadhams, with the law firm of Black and Wadhams, and we have proudly represented you guys, now for 4 sessions. I think this will be going into 4th session, so, look forward to it. I would be remiss if I didn't introduce our intern, Cooper Irvine. He's a recent
Cooper.
graduate of, UNR and learning the process, so.
I love it.
So we try to instill love of government to our. Anyway, let me give you just kind of the numbers of the legislative session, where we are right now, where we're gonna be roughly. And unfortunately, Mr. Larragetta said, I'm gonna try to give you a preview of the session. I can't do that because, well, I've done this long enough to know every one of them is infinitely different. They're beautifully unique snowflakes. Right now, we sit at 540 BDRs, those are bill draft requests. So that is heading into the legislative session. Every bill must start as a bill draft request, but not every bill draft request becomes a bill. But, so we sit at about 540. We usually get about 1,500 BDRs by the end of the legislative session. So we're a little over 1/3 of the bill for the ideas that we may have for this legislative session. Of those 1,500 BDRs, about 500 each, so 1,500 each house. So we get about 1,000 bills. And in a rough session, you'll get somewhere between 650 to 750 bills that end up passing. And that is all the manner of how we run state government in Nevada, from bankruptcy to gaming to transportation, what have you. Looking ahead, we are just 12 days out from this election, and our elected officials are probably very much looking forward to the end of that, and 102 days till the legislative session begins. At this point, with the election 12 days away, the only real question for the legislature itself is by what margin the Democrats will control the legislature. There is no real doubt that there's going to be a switch of party control in either house. We are down to, out of 52 races for the legislature, only about 6 are actually really competitive in any meaningful way. 1 in the state senate down in southern Nevada, and then roughly 5 in the assembly, mostly down in southern Nevada, 1 up here. To the extent you guys live in Assembly District 24 over there on kind of the west side, that's one of the competitive districts. Looking ahead just to, I guess what I'd say, a garden variety session, because we're still a little early to know what's going to happen in the legislative session. We focus on any number of items for you guys. Governance, particularly things like public meetings, how they run, public records, how you have to respond to those, local government issues, keeping an eye on how taxes or other funding sources will move along through the legislative process. And then we get into some of the more specific fair and recreation board bills. There's not frequently a ton of these, but there's always one or two that come up through a legislative session. For instance, last session, we had AB 129, which was a bill that would have, added a seat to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority for the Latin Chamber of Commerce. Then in 2021, we had a couple of bills that were of some interest to this group. We had a convention, with a weird issue with the commerce tax and the commerce tax attachment to sales at a convention center that we had to clean up. We also were dealing with some of the VRBOs and the Airbnbs, particularly the lake. We got a lot of that dealt with. And then I think the biggest bill recently, fortunately, was not there for it, was 2015, and there was a reduction in membership, actually, this board of the RDCBA. That's sort of where we look at this moment. I think this session, like, if I'm gonna try to predict anything, last session was so unique in Nevada. I've done this now, this will be 20 odd years, 10 sessions. We have never had a budget surplus like we had last session. We were looking at billions of dollars of extra revenue. And for those of you guys who've been around, we know that doesn't happen ever. Usually we're either looking at just flat budgets or what we're gonna cut to get to even. I think we're gonna revert to mean, and that we're gonna be looking at more of a very even keel budget, if not maybe some minor cuts around the edges, just depending on where the economy takes us. And I think that's going to change the dynamics, because getting to spend money in a legislative session, I imagine, is kind of addictive. And so you want to do it and making improvements. So I think we're going to be looking at tighter budgets, a little bit more fiscal constraint, and then laying in the politics of the moment. It's been a nasty campaign in the legislature, but you guys have all seen it. Now they're gonna have to all work together. I think that'll be a fascinating thing to see how we work there. So I'll obviously report back during the session, but that's where we sit at the moment. I know you guys are looking at some legislation, so move forward as directed.
I appreciate it. I think on here, there's some discussion, I guess I would ask, does it have to be, because it says, amendment to revise the manner of which the board members are appointed or reappointed to the board, as well as the eligibility requirements for election to serve as chair of the board. I think right now its chair is amongst the electeds. I just me personally, and that's why we're gonna have this discussion. I would like to see other members of the board be able to be chair. Otherwise, I just think it makes for better collaboration. The other thing that I'd like to see, and I don't know where this sort of falls, because it's been, I've seen it done both ways. When you come off the airport, then sometimes there's an idea that you would be removed. I would prefer that they stay on until the duration of the term. Because.
Knowledge and experience.
Right. Does that have to, is that a legislative?
So I'm gonna tee that over to Ben here.
Ben, what do you think?
So I can actually address that, and I've got in your packet here, there's a memo, and I've got the statute 244-601. If you can give me 1 second, I'll find the language for you. So it's a little bit of a gray area. The statute doesn't require that you come off the RCDA board if you term out of one of your appointing organizations. The language is, if a member ceases to be engaged in the business or occupation which he or she was appointed to represent, he or she ceases to be a member, and another person engaged in that business or occupation must be appointed for the unexpired term. So if they still are engaged in the business for the appointing organization, they can remain. If we want clarity to that language or to strike that language, then that would be
It's probably okay, I guess, and it could also be based on the board that you serve on, so let's say airport says, thanks, no thanks, or I don't know.
They can say, yeah, we want you to represent for another year.
So maybe that way it just leaves it up to the purview of that board.
Sponsoring body.
That's fine.
So we have always deferred to the appointing organization, and if they tell us that the person is no longer involved and they want to put somebody else up, we're happy to do that. If they say we think they're still sufficiently engaged with sort of what we do, then we can allow them to stay.
Okay, perfect.
Go ahead, real quick, before we move into that, I just had a quick question for Jesse. On the surplus for the last session, was that predominantly from all the federal dollars, the Christmas money that we all got on a local and state level? And now we're looking at inflation at the states anywhere like my city is, we're facing a pretty good deficit. So was that surplus predominantly based on federal funds that came in?
And again, I think it was a number of sources. Obviously, we saw gains. Incredible. And so we did see tax revenue bump in a number of segments, but I do think that the vast majority of that was that federal CARES Act money, that federal funding for the pandemic. That is basically, as you know, burned through, and now we're looking at very different budget scenarios.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Richard.
Question for you, follow up on your question. We had the marijuana tax money come in. And it was initially for education, but it was decided to be used during the COVID to help shore up Nevada budget, which I think was a wise move. And then after that, it seems to be a little ambiguous as to, is it going into education only? Is it going part into education? What was the intent? It was always my understanding that that money was to fund education. And then also has the state, it looks like the state says, okay, we've got 100 million from marijuana money, so we're gonna take 100 million out of that, so it's revenue neutral.
So this is a public meeting, so I have to be obviously very careful with how I might couch that answer, but obviously, I don't really work in the marijuana space, and particularly in the taxation, but that if your review of that is exactly correct. We created, when we enacted the tax to create the legalization of marijuana, it was very specifically the tax revenue would be going to education. And then what does happen in the legislative process and in the two money committees is very frequently, if there's revenue dedicated to a source, well, then you can remove general fund and essentially supplant that money, right? So you end up revenue neutral, because there's look, candidly, there's always another need for other money, right? So, that's generally what happened, is that by and large, those monies get supplanted and general fund money will be redirected.
Meanwhile, we remain number 47 in funding of education within the nation. Don't get me going on that one.
All right, any questions for Jesse? Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Jesse, risk reward. When we open up this, what are the risks, what are the rewards? It seems like all legislatures are looking for money. We just talked about it. So my question is, our money is, our money, here in our pile of money out to RCDA. Is there a opportunity that they might come after us for some kind of that? Because they see that, what do they care for? They've got, tax dollars. So anyway, you know what I'm asking.
Yeah, no, I think, look, it's the nature of the legislative business, right? There's always a risk reward calculus you gotta kind of be factoring in. If the legislature is bound and determined to come take somebody's money, well, they can do that, right? And it's not even a 2/3 bill to move money. It's because you're not changing the actual rate. But, there's a saying in this business, right? Be careful what you open up. If you open up a chapter of law, then somebody else can start to say that piece of that chapter is now open. And anything that belongs in that chapter can go into that chapter. So, that is part of the process, to the extent that, for instance, you wanted to make a move doing whatever it is. I work for you. So you tell me the thing you wish to go accomplish, I will go work to accomplish that. If it's in the Fair and Recreation Board chapter, that, I don't know if the taxable, it's there, but understanding that other items could move in there. Somebody may say, you know what, we have a different vision for how this should work. We would like different methods, like some different manner of doing this thing. Like, until you kind of get into the process, you don't really do that. Yeah, at the end of the day, what we do is try to manage that risk. But you're right, there is risk, but you are a creature of statute. In order to change statute, you have to do it.
Let's see what your thoughts were on that, because like I said, we like keeping all our money in the region and going down for tourism and events and everything.
I definitely,
We need drive.
I see the risk with regard to anybody with a pot of money.
Anyone with a pot of money is in trouble.
If you've got a revenue source.
Someone's coming. Yeah.
There's gonna be some look. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would also say, and wouldn't you agree, depending on who gets elected, presidential,
Yeah.
there's a lot of unknown factors, and so kind of once we get into it, you have a much better idea of what the predictions can be of what you should go in for, what you shouldn't go in for. I mean, and whether we're wasting our time or, correct?
Very much so. In 13 days, I can sort of tell you a lot more about
Yeah.
that tenor of that
Right,
legislation.
right.
And the dynamics of how they're gonna try to work with each other.
Yeah, go ahead, Alexa.
Thank you.
You'll be glad when it's over.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yes.
You have nothing to worry about.
I agree with you. I think that we should allow anyone who serves on this board to be elected chair. My concern is I don't remember when we changed this, and I just don't want us to look like, what are you doing? Or we have a good, argument to say
Yeah.
we changed this, but also there's so much turnover at the ledge, maybe it doesn't even matter. So I don't know if this is any of the calculus that you've been thinking about.
Ben, you want to refresh our memory when we changed it?
Sure, so that was part of, the bill in 2015 to make the board smaller. And I've gone back and looked through the legislative history, and there's not much in the legislative history other than, a comment by Greg Farrar on behalf of the Nevada Resort Association that said they were making that change to make the change to require that the chair be one of the 3 elected officials to match with LVCVA policy.
Okay.
And from what I can tell, throughout the history of the organization, even before that requirement, the chair was always an elected official, except in 2015.
Is that
So-
Mike?
It was, Mr. Sullivan, the banking industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the reason that was given on the record. I wasn't involved in the legislative part. I was just the legal counsel, and sort of another one of the reasons that were communicated to me was because in reducing the size of the board from 13 to 9, Washoe County and the city of Reno each lost a seat. And by making the requirement that the chair be an elected official was sort of a way to give them some comfort that that the electeds would still maintain a bit of control on the board.
That's some interesting history. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that history, we are going back and changing.
We are.
Just checking.
But if we notice that we want to change, I don't think that's inappropriate. And if we have a good argument that we want to open it up to other community members to be involved, that's fine.
For sure.
I think it's good to.
But I think, do you think, Jesse, it's probably better to give us another update when we have a better idea of where we're going?
Yeah, I mean, I think
This is
if
probably
I
a
was,
little premature.
if I was to give this board my recommendation, it's at least say, look, we're interested in this. That way I can probably at least start to gauge BDR interest, right? The sooner I know to go seek a BDR, the better. Now, if we get to next month and the numbers are very weird or what, I can have a better idea, but at some level of direction, because I think, again, I hate to say it, the best day to start anything was yesterday, the next is today, so just kind of have, now we're not probably gonna get a BDR really quick, but I'd rather start soon.
So you basically know if the legislature becomes money hungry.
Well, we're starting to see a little bit of it. The economic forum has been meeting, so you're starting to see the pieces pull together.
Yeah.
I just, nobody's, there's not gonna, I can say this, I don't think there's going to be a tax raise. So current revenues will be looked at.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, go
Madam
right
Chair,
ahead.
I know that we had, sorry, Steve, am I jumping over you?
No, I just turned mine on.
Okay,
It's official.
we had our.
Just
committee,
Official.
the official,
Until like-
the legislative and committee, whatever.
Subcommittee,
The subcommittee.
executive legislative, yeah.
And we had this conversation, and I think, you know, we all decided it was much more important to have this broader conversation to the board. I know that when Jesse came to that subcommittee, there is a timeline that I want to be sensitive to our lobbyists and allowing them to be successful should we ask them to pursue a BDR. I know that, you know, a bill like this probably goes through Gov, right? And ideally, we could have done a interim presentation in front of Gov and had the time to sort of consider that. Going back, that's probably, you know, if we look in the future, we're now out 2-3 more years on any changes, so just take that into consideration. I would say if we do anything today, maybe a concept, because it doesn't have to be exact, and then charge Jesse and his team with procuring a BDR sponsor and a jacket that we can at least have something in place that deals with a potential change. And I know that I'm not speaking for my fellow members, but I was comfortable knowing we had sort of two concepts in this. How members are appointed and then who gets to serve as chair, and then, you know, depending on where we all fall as a board, we can finalize that language and then even choose not to even have the bill heard if, Rick, there's some massive concern that, you know, they're going after and sweeping funds every which direction. I don't see that happening personally. You know, from my perspective, that would be a huge shock, and I think that would disturb the whole ecosystem of the legislature. But I think we should at least give him a charge to find and procure a bill sponsor and get a jacket going.
Well, the good news about you is you're a very familiar face down there, so that's very helpful. Yeah. Good job. Okay, go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, no, just again, because these are kind of in two bites, right? One was the chairmanship discussion, the other was this reappointing. I took read it more, not so much in your scenario, Richard, where your term is up with them, but more when that appointee is presented to the group. Currently, right, it's just the electeds that vote on it. And one of the discussion points was put pressure on you three,
Yeah.
which I guess is, you know, it can go
We
both
don't
ways.
love,
Used to
But
it.
you
we
probably.
don't love,
But you probably.
that's what we're
wanna-
trying to pull you in.
Right.
Well, Stephen voted that way.
So I do think that's a valid request, even in itself. I get and to your point, Ben, from the history run of, the board was downsized, I think the thought was, we'll keep the chair spot within the electeds. And again, that we discussed. I do think there's a certain alignment, LVCBA, that whatever way we go is probably gonna be wanted to, at least, but I know we're not in the line on, there's certainly that we don't.
Right.
We're not parallel with the 100%, including board size.
So currently, the LVCVA does not have the requirement that the chair be an elected official, but it's always been their practice.
But I guess so I don't know, as far as from an possible action side, is it what Jesse, or I mean, Eddie recommended, in the sense of getting the jacket ready, but also kicking it back to this committee to where we vet it out a little more and bring it to the group.
Yeah, go ahead.
So a couple of thoughts from, the executive subcommittee. We brought all of these up. Ben and I have had a lot of conversations about, both of these, because it is two separate issues. People coming on or extending their terms. I would love to have everybody voting for that. It's a tough situation that the three of us are in, and everybody is on the board. And so I kind of feel that voice for everyone makes sense. The chairmanship, Ben had told me, a couple of years ago, right after I became chair, that kind of the thought also was that electeds were elected to be fiscally responsible for taxpayer dollars, and as a quasi-governmental entity, we have that job already. and someone who is in the private sector coming from casino or from the chamber doesn't. And so kind of the mindset from what Ben has shared with me was really not only the reduction in size, but kind of we have to do that whether we like it or not already. And then Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority also has 14 members and 9 of them are elected. So the practice of them always having a chair who's elected is pretty high probability because it's majority of their board. So those are just a couple of thoughts I had as we looked at both of these considerations. And yeah, to Eddie's point, we need, and Jesse, we have to find a bill sponsor to present this. And do we present both of them? I guess that's the other option. Do we have, is it one bill draft, one BDR that includes both of them? Or do we want to separate them because, and Jesse, maybe you can help me. I know they had no appetite last year when Las Vegas tried to add one member. And I know you can't guess what the legislature is going to do, but do we have a stronger leg? Maybe you and maybe Ben can kind of guide us a little bit on that. Do we separate them? Would we do it together?
I mean, I guess to the extent that I was just thinking through this, if you're going to pursue both, I would do them in one bill.
Okay.
That said, at this stage, Mr. Atlas are correct in that, what I would need to do to get a BDR from an individual legislator is simply say, hey, something like governance in fair and recreation boards in counties of 750 and less, right? That's roughly the top cap. And leave it a little open, say that there may be 2, maybe 1, maybe none. So I guess to the extent you're looking at 2, I would rather do 1 bill than to try to go find 2 bills. But that said, right now, I don't know that we're not quite to the point where we need that language. We're getting tight to it. I mean, but language is due in February, but that puts us way behind the 8 ball.
Okay. What action would you like this year to take?
I think if you want to pursue it, I think it's similar to what Mr. Avliser said, is to give Mr. Wadham's direction to go pursue a sponsor to.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm happy to make a motion, Chair.
Sure.
I
that'd be
move
great.
that, we instruct, Jesse Wadhams and our firm to find a bill sponsor, in creating an initial short title, perhaps on bylaw cleanup, for the RSCDA.
Perfect. All right, great. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, good. Thanks so much. Okay, good job, Jesse. Go get them.
Oh, you're gonna send me back there, huh?
Go get 'em.
Good alliance.
Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna jump back to D1 presentations. All right, I'm gonna send it to you, Mr. Larragetta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm actually going to defer to Ms. Ernie to do the introduction.
All right.
Good morning. Yes, I'm pleased to welcome a special guest here this morning, Ross Borden, who is the CEO of the Matador Network. Matador Network is the world's largest independent travel publisher. We have worked with Matador Network under our media buying services for a number of years, and they're just the team. I say that we were just talking about it, I think almost a decade ago, like when 360 cameras came out, and they were talking about it as innovators in the travel world. I'm like, how can Reno Tahoe get involved in that? When AI was coming out, so just this past year when AI was coming out, we're like, how do we get that incorporated into Reno Tahoe? And they're the ones who developed the widget on our website, the AI powered itinerary build. So
Love it.
and many examples in between, but we just thought it'd be a good idea to have them come today and do a presentation on some of the partnerships that we have done in the past, some of the content creation programs, and then a couple of the ideas that we have brewing here moving forward. Please introduce Ross.
Well, wonderful to meet everyone, and thanks for having me this morning. So I'm excited to present. As Christina said, we've been longtime partners with Reno Tahoe, and even before we were just talking, we were trying to decide how long has that been. It's been about a decade. My company, I live in Marin County, just down in the Bay. I founded a company way back in 2006 with $11,000, pretty humble beginnings. We started a media company and we were a blog, then the biggest travel blog on the internet. And now we built a really exciting media and content business. And you guys have been partners of ours for about 10 years. And I think we've been successful as a company, now the #1 global publisher for travel and adventure, because we like to be early. We're very early on social media. We now have 16 million followers. We're early on video. We now are doing about 240 million video views per month across our channels, which now include not only social media, our website, but airline IFEs like the in-flight entertainment, where we have a partnership with GSTV at the gas stations. We're talking to rideshare companies. So we have 300 terabytes of really high quality travel content, and we're now putting that sort of all over the place, digital out of home, across the internet. And then we built a 50-person content studio where we make amazing content partnerships with brands like Microsoft, Samsung, REI, different outdoor technology brands, and then obviously travel, airlines, hotel, global hospitality, and DMOs. We work with about 350 DMOs worldwide. So yeah, we've been early, and we've been excited to partner with you guys a number of times because you are, forward thinking and open to new ideas. The 360 video, I think that one didn't become the next big thing, but I can tell you that AI is the real deal. So just quickly, I'm going to go through some of the partnerships we've done with you guys. You can see some of the other DMOs that we work with, other brands that we work with across, some of these other categories like auto. There's sort of a synergy that I'll get to in a little bit where we could bring brand partnerships together and use powerful brands together with Reno Tahoe and the destination that I think could be exciting. But overall, we're a media company. We're all about audience. We run millions and millions of banner ads. Sort of that's like the old school way of thinking. It's still what we do, but we really focus on custom content. That's making the content the advertising. So that's articles and especially videos out of our studio. I'll talk about some of those. We also do a lot of events and activations. Seems like you guys are gearing up to be a real, a leader in events. So I think that's an exciting thing to draw tourism. I think whether it's, big concerts or festivals or sporting events, event tourism is becoming a huge topic of conversation globally within the DMO world. Short form vertical video production, that's basically, shot on a phone for the phone. We've grown to 11 million followers across TikTok very quickly. Same with Instagram Reels. That's where a lot of that sort of volume of video happens. You just need a ton of content to do that. And we're increasingly acting almost like a creative agency for a lot of our partners because we are in so close on the strategy side of things with a lot of our DMO partners that they're like, why aren't you doing our TV commercials? Or are you fueling our vertical video? So that's been an exciting part of this as well. So yeah, I think just running through so you're aware of all the things we've done in the past. We've done quite a bit. So again, destination guides, that could be written content, video. Leave No Trace is a big partner of ours. Some of you are probably familiar with them. I was just actually speaking at their conference in Boulder. They had a summit a couple weeks ago. Pretty exciting. It's an organization I really believe in. I learned about them when I was a kid in Outward Bound in the 90s, and I was like kind of lived by their principles, taught my kids about it. But I think for tourism, it's extremely important because you have these situations where you guys can do too good a job, right? Like there's so many people. We saw this during COVID, influxes of people to all the same places, maybe nature areas, trails, and many of us grew up outdoors, so we know how to act, we know how to behave, but I think COVID especially brought people out to the outdoors who just didn't have that experience and need a little bit of education and reminders of how to act and how to leave no trace. So we have a full partnership with them. We actually worked with you guys on that. Scalable vertical video, fueling, again, volume. And then looking forward, we'll talk about Guide Geek and Gen AI and event activations and deeper sort of creative scope. But this is just to visually, I won't, take your time to show you these videos. Happy to provide links if any of you are interested in specific work to go watch the stuff, but we've done a full sustainable travel guide to Reno in partnership with Leave No Trace. Our Leave No Trace thing, the partnership with them is, that's sort of, we also helped Hawaii with the program called Malama. Malama Aina is like, take care of the land, take care of the sea, take care of the people, and those things will take care of you. So it's like a sustainable way of living that the Hawaiians have always sort of lived by. With them, they were the first sort of like idea how this was sort of born, and we realized that we didn't want to do finger wagging and say, don't do this, don't do that when you come to Hawaii, because all of us who are responsible don't want to hear that. You feel like you're the lowest common denominator of tourists. And so what we did is we started to profile and spotlight local NGOs, opportunities to interact with local businesses, local business owners, the people behind these interesting businesses that get people under a little bit more under the culture and the skin of Hawaii in a way of like immersing yourself as a traveler. So we did that with you guys here, profiled a bunch of NGOs and small businesses who help people explore responsibly when they come to Reno and Sparks, and the lake, obviously. So I think it's a really good way of saying like, this place is incredible, and because of that, it requires your, it's fragile. You need to respect this place when you come here. We've also done a number of video guides, from everything from, I think this one won a bunch of awards, a hero video called The Desert Is My Canvas, and really educating people about just how far out you guys have Pyramid Lake, like, in the incredible, different territories that are inside of your jurisdiction. This was a fun program. Southwest is a huge partner of ours. I know Airlift is everything to a lot of our DMO partners. This was actually with the Southwest budget, and we brought this partnership for free to Reno Tahoe. So we were able to use Southwest media dollars and promote Reno Tahoe and the destination at no cost to you. We try and figure out opportunities, and I think that's why we have so many long-term partners in the DMO world, that we're kind of everywhere. Our teams are everywhere, from PR, content, global marketing. And so when we see an opportunity and Southwest says, hey, we really want to, lean into some of these like destination guides, we pick up the phone and call folks like yourselves, Christina especially, and Mike, and we can, bring these partnerships even at zero cost. The vertical video thing, I think, is not going away. Just if we're talking about like trends to think about going forward, we've seen Google did a big, their own study on this and found that a lot of, especially Gen Z travelers, completely skip Google and just go straight to TikTok or Instagram and use it as a search engine. So you need to have, most of the amazing experiences in your region cataloged as vertical videos, so something shows up and people see when they're looking at video results, see, a good result. The other big trend that's happened even since then is Gen AI. So again, we were super early on this. We were the first company in travel to launch a natural language AI assistant. We partnered with OpenAI. It's the same language model that powers your chatbot that we built for you guys is GPT-4o. That's the kind of newest macro model from OpenAI. And we partnered with Meta. So we actually wanted to mimic the experience of texting with a friend, because when I'm going to a new city and I know someone there, I'm texting them immediately, where should I stay? What neighborhood should I consider? What should I do? And so what we've done is we've actually Guide Geek, what I call the mothership. We just hit 1 million users, so pretty exciting milestone for us, but it's available on WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook Messenger, and then also our website. And immediately we're getting thousands and thousands of new users every day. And we're like, man, how do we put this together to work for our DMO partners? And basically where we landed is that every DMO, if you have an Instagram account, which they all do, right? You all do. You probably want to have a natural language assistant based on a big language model in the next 2 years that is specialized at your destination. Could be specialized in gaming, could be specialized in the restaurant scene and the vibrant outdoor scene here in Reno Tahoe. So we basically we index your website, all of your content that these guys have done such a great job compiling over the years, indexed all that website, so when I ask a question, it's actually based on, first and foremost, the website content on renotahoe.com. If I ask a crazy question that's really specific and it doesn't have an answer on the website, it will fall back to an amazing answer from GPT-4o. And no matter what, it will have that conversational intelligence to build custom itineraries and, more importantly, to remember who a user is. So if it learns that I'm a luxury traveler, it's gonna start recommending luxury travel experiences without me having to remind it that's how I like to travel, or that I'm traveling with small kids or whatever it is. So this is kind of where Guide Geek is now. We've had 11 million messages sent by real travelers to the AI, and we think Gen AI and natural language assistants are really the future of travel planning, and could be pretty disruptful to DMOs who are not on it. So I'm glad you guys are one of our first about 30 DMOs who have set up the AI, and I'm excited to see where that goes. We really think Gen AI will eat the entire funnel. So we've seen people say, hey, you know, I want a fun vacation in the mountains within a 2-hour flight of SFO that's great for kids and has great nightlife. And it might recommend Reno Tahoe, even though they didn't specifically ask for Reno Tahoe. We've seen, you know, we plugged into Booking and all the big OTAs, so people are doing price compare. They're actually doing travel bookings and transactions on Guide Geek. And then the kind of like, okay, I'm going to Reno Tahoe. Where should I get reservations? What's the hottest new restaurant? Where should I go gaming? Like, what are my options for casinos? So the do and see research is a big part of it. And then the last one is kind of something that surprised us. And that's that we've seen hundreds of thousands of our users, they plan the trip all on Guide Geek, then they get to the destination and they're using it to answer every single little question. So what we're doing now, one part of our evolution with our DMO partners, is actually sending out asset packs, physical signs and QR codes. So you guys can have those if you want at the front desk or at your visitor centers or at the airport. And it ultimately helps people see more, do more, stay more room nights, and experience more from the destination. So we think that in-market piece is going to be really interesting because we've seen people asking hundreds of questions, little questions. Great brunch spot in this neighborhood, bam. Good hiking area, how far is that? You know, like it's amazing how many little questions, and we've really changed the behavior where they're not going to Google for those things because it's so much faster and easier to ask Guide Geek. So we think that 2025, the real future of these things will be website indexing, vertical video, and APIs all integrated into these chat and Gen AI partnerships and products. So I know, you know, we're short on time, so I won't have too much of this. And then the last one though, that's something that we're working on, and that's like kind of the next big leap forward with Gen AI in general, is that you have AI agents. So you can say, yeah, the restaurant sounds great, 6:30 for 4 people, book it. Or yeah, we want 2 suites at the Peppermill for 2 nights, go ahead and book that, and it will actually take that action on your behalf. So I think we're kind of lulled into, AI's been around for almost 2 years now with ChatGPT. You know, we're like, this is gonna change the whole world, it's gonna revolutionize everything. And I think it's changed things, but we've kind of gotten lulled into like, well, it's not that much different. I think over the next 3 to 5 years, that is going to accelerate, and you will see massive changes in how people plan trips, get information about places, and ultimately run their lives through personal assistance. So yeah, this is the last slide. You know, our hope for Reno Tahoe and our SVCA is really CVA, sorry, is you know, to bring you guys more opportunities around content, media programs, creators, events, and brand partnerships and overall technology, whether it's digital media or AI. So yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
That's awesome. I am such a big fan. I love what you guys do, and I know Christina is too. It's really impressive. So is your studio in Marin?
Yeah, so we're in Sausalito, but to be honest,
That'd be in Reno.
I know. Well, I was just saying to Christina, we just had
It's so expensive there. You gotta come here.
when we do these big retreats, because our team is literally spread out all over the world. So most of the time, our studio is not shooting in a physical studio room like this, but they're out in the field, like shooting all over the world. different videos for different brands, destinations, our Matador Originals, which are like documentaries and shows that we make for streamers. So, a lot of what we do is sort of virtual, a
Yeah.
virtual studio.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was telling Christina that we did our last big retreat where I brought, 80 of our team, basically the whole team, to Mexico City. And I was cruising to dinner last night and I was looking at all these like really amazing looking restaurants and bars. And I was like, we should do our next retreat here.
Yes.
So that would be a cool opportunity.
We love it.
Obviously, coming together with all the creatives, so we'd be creating a ton of content. And I really think, I think there's an opportunity to have like really big, large scale travel festival of some kind. We all go to, or at least Christine and I, we're on the trail at travel conferences, right? Where it's like the sort of, the corporate side of travel, but I think there's something to be said for like all the people who are just interested in travel more broadly and want to go explore and hear interesting speakers that they've seen online for years and years, but they want to meet them. So I think there could be an incredible travel festival opportunity at some point, and or just we'll come here and do our next retreat here. So you'll see us here no matter what.
I love that. I love it so much. And what an incredible story you have as an entrepreneur. That is impressive.
Thank you.
It
I
really
appreciate
is.
it.
And you look
Well,
like
it's
you're
like
having
tears, so
fun.
I'm still having fun because it's travel, right? If it was something other than travel, I wouldn't have made it this long.
Yeah, and I absolutely love AI. I know, there's some other aspects of it that aren't great, but it's really changing the game and taking all this data that we can really leverage. And you guys are gonna get to know your customers so well and personalize it. I always look at it sort of like it's like a dating app that's incredible.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? For your travel experience.
totally.
It really is like that, in that, what do you wanna do? What's the, how tall you want them to be.
And I think,
Right?
it's.
Tone in that much.
Yeah, and you're gonna see AI is already integrated in a lot of stuff we touch every day in terms of technology, but I think for travel, where we saw the opportunity is that it's just way too hard right now, or how it has been, to plan trips. And
100.
especially if you have a family or whatever, you got different moving parts. A lot of times the people who are busiest, who have the most money to travel, have the least time to figure out all these little moving parts. And we've all been there, right, with like 30 browser tabs open, trying to piece together an itinerary, find the best deal, figure out, make sure you're in the right neighborhood, the right hotel. So, we really think that, speaking from experience, like I've been running a travel company almost 20 years. I think I'm pretty good at planning travel. I have a personal assistant who runs my entire life. She knows everything about me. And still, we sometimes run out of time and I'm like, you know what? Forget it. We're gonna stay home. We're gonna stay local. We're not doing the trip because we can't find the right Airbnb or whatever it is. And I think that hopefully, if we can continue to be a leader in this space and that we can get all the DMOs on board to really build data and that two-way relationship with each of their users, it will just become way easier to plan trips, and the result of that, more people will travel.
Yeah, even if you put it in ChatGPT right now, if you say, I'm 20 years old, I like to stay in these types of, because before you had to read TripAdvisor, right? But now you literally can say, I'm 20 years old, I like to stay at, 3-star, hotels versus a 5-star, right, whatever. And I like to do these things, and it literally comes back with an impressive itinerary really built for you.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're leveraging this is super awesome, and Christina just is always on the forefront of what you do. And so I'm really grateful because I've watched, how we've used you guys for quite a while now, and it's awesome. I love what you do. So anyway, questions? Go right ahead.
Quick comment, thank you. I think AI is, we're only scratching the surface.
Yeah.
What I do is, I remember when Google first came out. What is Google? How are we gonna use it? I started off this bit, and look where Google is now.
Yeah.
I think AI is gonna surpass what Google has done. And we just have to realize it's, my son works for Microsoft. He's in charge of Copilot.
Oh, wow.
It's like a kindergartner. They don't know a lot, but they have a brain and it's learning. And by the time they get to 5th grade, they know more. By the time they're in high school, but it's gonna happen so much faster. And I think you being in front of it like it is, 5 years from now, I can't even imagine what AI is gonna be like in our lives.
Yeah.
It's just gonna expand exponentially. So kudos to you for really embracing it And I can hardly wait to see what the next couple of years brings us.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't ask the question about, I'm in the gaming side of the world.
Yep.
And, room tax out here is funded by most of the gamers.
Yep.
Do you do anything in the gaming vein?
Yeah, we have. We'd like to do more, but you know, we're big partners with LVCVA. We've worked with a ton of their properties through them. We're big partners with, you guys know Brenda at Travel Nevada. She's been a partner of ours for a very long time. So we work with the state. We actually have 2 programs in market with them right now. And I'll actually probably see many of you in Vegas next week. I'll be speaking at the GovCon there. But yeah, and I think the way our team is set up, there are unique opportunities to work with the gaming industry or specific properties in concert with the DMO. So, you know, I'd love to explore more around that, but certainly, you know, where we have a lot of traffic and users on social and people using our AI are the big cities where there's a huge concentration of young people who want to travel, want to go on these weekend adventures, SF, LA, Seattle, New York. And I think that's where we see that interest in gaming and just more broadly, the casino property experience with gaming and entertainment and incredible, you know, dining, you know, opportunities. So yeah, I think there's a huge opportunity there.
I mean, I think it's important. I appreciate that because gaming brings also gourmet restaurants, just like you said. Actually, today we're opening up, with Gordon Ramsay downtown Reno.
Wow, that's great.
So the
Congrats.
point, I guess what I'm saying is gaming, yeah, you can become a millionaire but you could have a hell of an experience. You can still go skiing, you can still gamble, you can still eat one of the best bars or drink or eat. So thank you, yeah.
And it's a huge differentiator for you guys versus like a Colorado
Oh, yeah.
ski vacation or
It's an
anything like
amenity.
that. You guys really have it all. You have natural beauty,
Yeah.
you have gaming, you have a really, what I think is like a cooler scene, almost like downtown Las Vegas scene
Yeah.
with restaurants and
Yeah.
bars outside of the property. So, I mean, you guys have it all.
Yeah, not to mention, I think too, the way your content comes across, I think it also introduces gaming in a way that it resonates with them. So depending on how you're marketing and what you're looking at, so obviously you guys need to continue to be relevant for a younger generation and the things that they care about. I mean, you'll start to see probably recycled water bottles in your rooms, those kinds of things where they're, you know, leave no trace, the sustainability aspect. So your content really appeals to market to a new customer for the gaming industry, because I say they love to play hard in the day and they love to play hard at night.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And we found on your version of Guide Geek on the Reno Tahoe AI Assist, a lot of people asking about
Yeah.
this destination as a wellness and relaxation destination. So again, spas and wellness,
Yeah.
huge driver of travel for us
Yeah.
and our content. And then also culinary, you wouldn't believe how many people, especially younger people, are like, if you ask them 100 people on the street, why do you travel? For the food. Like that is the first thing that they care about. So an opening to an amazing new restaurant at Gordon Ramsay, that's actually something to lead with. And then like, and you get gaming and you
Yeah.
get outdoor adventure and you like, and, right? So I think you can cut it a bunch of different ways to appeal to different like cohorts.
Yeah.
You know, and one more thing, we are really trying to be unique, because we're not Las Vegas, obviously, we don't have the Raiders, we don't have hockey, but we do have, great special events that are personalized.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go,
Good
whether
point.
it's Sparks or Reno or anywhere, our special events are
Unique.
unique.
Yeah.
And people love to come here because they would rather celebrate, say, Italian festival. It brings, our hotels fill. But the point I guess I'm making is, events are so big now. Mike, you just hired that lady, and it seems like that's gonna be part of our DNA. We need to make sure we're always finding the latest, coolest, newest event that fits Reno Tahoe, you know, so.
Well, it's
Thank
not
you.
an air balloon ride. I don't know, that would not be wellness for me, because I hate heights. I'd be scared out of my mind, but.
I don't think
no,
I'm
but
going
it's
up.
awesome. Anyone else have any questions? No? All
All right.
right,
Thanks,
okay,
guys.
you gotta move to Reno Tahoe, we're ready for you.
All right. I like it.
Okay, I'm gonna send it back to you, Mike.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. We, first of all, Ross, as you want to you're on the record for that retreat. So, we'll see you in Reno in the future. We have a relatively short executive update today. Myself, just some housekeeping updates. Mr. McGinnis will provide some information on some convention wins as of late. Ms. Ernie will provide a marketing and indoor track update, and then Renee McGinnis will close out our update and going over venue revenues and production for this last year. So jumping right in here, first of all, I'm happy to announce the Spotlight Award winner for the month of September is Aaron Halls. Aaron is a facility worker at the Reno Sparks Livestock Event Center and has been with the RCVA for 14 months. Congratulations, Aaron. Second, I'm happy to announce the hiring of Lori Tingy as our Director of Human Resources. Lori is here today. She has over 15 years of experience in human resources. She most recently was the HR Director at Eastern Plumas Healthcare, and prior to that, spent 4+ years in human resources at the Chevron Corporation. Lori, welcome to the team. Most recently, Valley Cigar, Christina, Ernie, and I recently traveled to San Diego to scout the Del Mar Food and Wine Festival. We participated in 2 high-end VIP dinners hosted by numerous celebrity chefs, a pickleball tournament with over 600 participants, and attendees featuring former San Diego Chargers quarterback, it's hard to say anymore, Drew Brees, and the grand tasting at the Polo Grounds on Saturday afternoon with over 200 vendors and 8,000 attendees. The organizers of this event are very interested in bringing a similar festival to Reno, Tahoe in 2026. And lastly, I'm happy to announce and piggyback on Brian's comments today that the RCVA has partnered with the Reno Aces to bring the party animals to Greater Nevada Field for 3 games, May 29th through the 31st. The party animals are affiliated with the Savannah Bananas. Games will be played on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. This draft was held in Savannah, Georgia on May 3rd to announce the 2024 locations of their games, and was attended, just the draft of the announcement, by over 5,000 people with over 1.5 million viewing online. Initial ticket sales use a lottery system, which closes on November 1st. Tickets will then go on sale to the general public on March 1st. Over 315,000 fans received a press release announcing the games taking place in Reno this May. The attendees will be 60% out of market, reaching visitors, which will forecast, in our estimates, over 6,000 room nights to the region for that weekend in May. To address Mayor Sheedy's comments about what we're going to do as part of our sponsorship agreement, not only do we obviously work with our stakeholders in driving overnight visitation, but we've also have 40 tickets per game in a suite, which our plans are to, 1, a Reno Tahoe Experience, MNC and Leisure Fam, to bring people in to attend the game for that weekend. We're also looking at doing a board and stakeholder evening as well. And the third, we're not sure if we do a marketing influence or something along those lines, but we'll definitely use those tickets in that suite for business purposes. So very exciting. The last thing is in addressing the question about what is the party animals and Savannah Bananas and the firefighters all about, to kind of put things into perspective. This organization truly embraces the city where the games are played, and go to the point of they literally look at what really is the makeup of your city. And to put things into kind of perspective is, let's use the Reno Rodeo or Hot Nights. The players participating in the games will literally arrive at the stadium that night, possibly on horseback, or possibly in Hot Nights, signature vehicles and cars. So it's gonna be a really fun weekend. I'm really excited. So happy to partner with the Reno Aces. Okay, concludes my update. Mr. McGinnis.
Mike, can I?
Yeah, Mr. J, yes, sir.
I'm so excited about this. This is fantastic. Memorial Day weekend, busy weekend for us, and maybe you guys can chime in on this.
Yeah.
60% out of state coming in.
So this event is the weekend after Memorial.
After,
Which,
okay, perfect.
For all of us old hoteliers, is notoriously a softer weekend.
Okay, good. Thank you for that
Yes.
clarification.
Yes.
So this theoretically could give us 2 weekends back to back.
Correct.
A strong one night.
Another reason why it was very attractive to us.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For the record, John McGinnis, good morning. All 7 regional directors, myself, Mike Largetta, support staff, and Valerie Segarra, descended upon Las Vegas 2 weeks ago to attend the IMEX America event. We actually hosted an event at Libertine Social, which is a trendy restaurant right in Mandalay Bay. We were right in the thoroughfare where all of the convention and meeting planners were walking through. But we already have a guest list of 140 clients that attended our event. And during that time frame, we were able to also plant 1,400 trees. And you're asking, how did you do that, John? Great question. What we did is we paired up with Joycos. They are a Chicago-based company. And the gentleman that founded the company decided to not use steel and plastics to make watch bands and watches and sunglasses. And for every product that is sold, he plants 10 trees. So the 140 guests all received a watch from Joyco or a watch band that could go with an iWatch. And we also have a follow-up program that if they submit an RFP by the end of November, we are going to give away, they have a chance of winning 1 of 8 iWatches. We heard many accolades that repeated the words of, "This is fantastic, Reno Tahoe has outdone itself, and you all are geniuses." And I couldn't agree more. Just some of our M&C wins. So from August until now, the team has put on the books 56,000 room nights. And these are all groups that are 2,500 rooms and above. If you want to take all of the room nights that we booked in that August to right now timeframe, it's 83,000 room nights. So very impressive. These come from all members all across the board. And one I really want to note is the National Association of Postal Supervisors. This was brought home by Jennifer Abdenor. She is our queen of the Eastern Seaboard, and she just celebrated her 10-year anniversary with the RCBA. So huge win on her 10-year, and congratulations, Jen, on both. Now, playing the part of Art Jimenez from the tourism sales will be John McGinnis, for the record. So Art is on vacation right now, much needed, and why? They just finished 2 major FAMs hosting Volaris Airlines as well as Spirit. Basically 6 days worth of action-packed adventure for both of these groups. Both separate groups, they're right on top of each other. The Spirit 3rd day was actually the 1st day of the Volaris FAM, so they were working nonstop. And if you are not familiar, or if you can just remember, the tourism team is small but very mighty. You've got Katie DeMuth, Miss Lopez, and as well as Art, supported by Daniel and Kimber in the efforts to get these done. And these are no small lift. They start at 8 in the morning, and these folks work all the way entertaining these groups up until midnight. So a lot of hours are put in for these, a lot of planning. Thank you, Kimber. Thank you, Daniel, for your help with getting these done, because we couldn't do it without you, as well as our host partners, stakeholders who provide rooms, who provide meals, and their time to come and see these groups and welcome them to Reno. One of the things with Volaris, they are celebrating 10 years in Reno this year. We'll celebrate that, I think, in just a couple of weeks. And one of their highlights, believe it or not, was TJ Maxx. Yes, the group was from Guadalajara, and they had an absolutely fantastic time, but boy, did they love to shop. So those are a couple other shots. They were able to go on the Flume Trail ride. They went to Hotspot Pottery over in Sparks. They went to an Oktoberfest concert. They went out to the Reno, to the air show. So again, very action-packed, and great job on the tourism team. And I'll hand the mic back to Mr. Largetta.
All right, thank you. So I am going to keep it brief, and I'm going to, as I promised, I'm gonna start off with a quick video. Of course, we all know the indoor track is currently being built across the street at the convention center. And I just want to show a quick teaser time lapse of where we're currently at with the indoor location. Sorry, the rise of cleaning. And
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive. They also have the bleachers have been built as well. It wasn't included in the video because it's just all happening so quickly.
So will there, I mean,
Yeah.
will there be an extended version of this?
There will be a
You
finished
bet.
Yeah.
You bet.
No, and I saw the mention on Northern, or Nevada Sportsnet. Yeah. I thought that was great.
Yeah, we did two interviews yesterday, one with KTV and Channel 2, and then also Nevada Sportsnet, which Channel 2 ran last night, and again, I think this morning. And then the NSN interviews will run Sunday, after the football game.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, and we're able to share some of this video asset, with the media as well.
Charlie?
So quick question, how long, and I know it's the first time we put it together, we've got the two Italians from Mondo that are there overseeing things. How long does it take physically, man hours to put it down? And then we have to remove it in the middle of this first season, right? So I'm trying to gauge time to set up, will it be faster the next time? But tear down time and resetting up, kind of what that time frame is,
Yeah,
because
great.
it's not overnight.
Great question, yeah, I'll take this one, I guess,
Yeah.
so I'm living in track world. Mike Largetta for the record, so the initial install, was actually 6 representatives from Italy and Mondo here. And they paired off as we've gone through the build process, there are still 4 here in Reno. The time period for the initial build is 10 weeks. So we started the last week of September, we'll be done, knock on wood, here in a couple weeks. We have a few more containers coming in. The UCS equipment will be the last delivery, which will come from Carson City. The first install in terms of taking the track apart, we're looking at, again, 6 to 8 weeks. And we'll start that right around the last weekend of February, because NCBA has actually added a weekend this year in their full facility program. So we have to take that in consideration of getting the track out so that the volleyball can move in. And then as we move forward, as part of the agreement with Mondo, is the training will reduce every year moving forward. So year 1 is 100% install and tear down. Year 2, I believe, is 50%. Year 3 goes down like 25%. So basically, it's more of an education where we get better at understanding how to build and disassemble the track every year moving forward.
So when we tear it down in February, is that the end of the season?
It is, yes, the last
We're
meet.
we're ending a little bit early. We talked about March initially.
Yes, we have
Because of an
still the
event.
weekend of February 22, 23rd available. If we booked 8 weekends out of the 11 are available. We're still in discussions with potentially 1 or 2 more meets, but as we get closer, obviously that probability goes down, but we have 8 on the books right now.
Okay, did we get any more, what's our status with the university as far as assistance with our costs and their commitment to us? Is anything different or new?
Yeah, so we're still in continued discussion as it relates to the agreement. We've identified the terms and we feel that they're going to be amenable to those terms. We're just waiting for the final signature on the dotted line to get that done.
Any other quick questions or?
All right, so here at the, sorry, was there a question?
No, keep going, thank you. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Me on the track.
Yeah.
If you gotta get that track, when the weather goes bad, we can do our goodwill like we do with high schools and teach people how to use that track so they don't, you know what I mean, Mike, is there thoughts?
So yes, again, Mike Largetta for the record. I don't believe there are any local high schools that have an indoor track program because they don't have an indoor track
Right.
to run on. That being said, we are looking at public days, similar to what we've done on the bowling stadium. The concern with, we're very protective of this track because of the investment we have in it.
No,
So,
right, I get that. yeah.
allowing the general public to use the track, participate on the track. We want to do that. That's definitely something that we are interested in. It's just a matter of how we control it and type of shoes we allow on the track and.
Wear and tear. Okay, yes.
And you may have touched on this, I'm sorry. What do you think the completion date will be?
So we have made a commitment to University of Nevada that they will be able to come in and practice that first week in December. Opening ceremonies and the initial track meet takes place December 5 through 7. So we're really shooting around that December 1st date where they'll be able to get in practice. We anticipate the track will be completed by mid-November. Yeah,
And we do have the board event grand opening on December 5th at 5 o'clock.
that's correct. Yes, yes. Sir.
We all have to run a mile?
Yes.
Mile and a half.
Trying to
2
start
miles,
training.
come on, you can do 2. Okay,
We've already set up the race and divided the teams accordingly with the board. We're just not gonna let you know which team you're on yet.
Christina's on my team, she's fast.
It'll be a relay.
Richard is running mine.
Okay, keep going, thank you. Anything else on that segment? Okay. Let's keep
Well, a
moving.
couple more things on the track. As you saw at the end of that video, we do have a new logo for the indoor track, as this will be a long-term project. Really proud of the marketing team. We developed this logo in-house, and we took the current convention center logo and our Reno Tahoe and put them together, and we got our new indoor track logo. So we're really happy with how it turned out, and thank you to David Dorn on the marketing team for designing that.
That's great.
You guys already mentioned this, but yes, save the date, Tuesday, December 5th, this time will be open to the general public from 6 to 7 PM. So tell everyone they can come in, see the indoor track, all set up and in action during its first meet. So, save the date for December 5th. Obviously, the track is a huge initiative for our organization, and I just wanna touch on a couple of things that we're working on with the marketing team and like a mini, I'll call it like a campaign called Hit the Ground Running. So we are working on a content series. This is with influencers, with brand partners. Just this past week, we hosted a couple of running influencers here in town, and yes, they're not physically running on the track, but we really are hoping to have, when people think of Reno Tahoe, they recognize it as a running community and a running city, and then hopefully broaden that message of, yes, they also have that indoor track for those athletes. But with this content series, we are highlighting, and I'll have a quick teaser, but we're highlighting that all sorts of running, whether it's trail running, just running for fun, literal fun runs, whether you're doing the RTO, events, festivals, really incorporating all of the aspects of running into this, no matter what type of runner you are. With that, we have been, we launched this fall as part of our off-season, a partnership with Strava. Strava is a tracking app that a lot of athletes use, and it's for any, I'll say sport, but really activity. It could be walking, it could be skiing, it could be mountain biking, it could be running. We launched it just a couple months ago, and we're running a challenge right now where you could win a trip to Reno Tahoe. And we have 39,000 participants currently in this challenge. We created a Reno Tahoe Club as part of this app, and it already has 455 members. And 6,000 people have entered to win that trip, and we've also gathered over 3,000 email addresses. So, and this is not just local, this is around the country. So it's really interesting to see all this engagement through this partnership. We're also going to be leveraging our national and local PR and all of our efforts there. And then lastly, community partnerships. We really want to partner with, whether it's nonprofits locally, whether it's our local businesses, our running clubs. These are really groups that we want to actively be a part of to show that we are part of this community now within this region, both locally and nationally. So that's that. And then just this week, I mentioned we had a couple of influencer runners here. This is a quick teaser. We're gonna create a video that we're gonna unveil at the grand opening of the track that really, I hope, embodies the running community here in Reno Tahoe, all the sorts of running. But this one showed an influencer, Morgan. He's an ultra marathon runner. He competes in 100-mile races, which I cannot even imagine. But we didn't make him run that far for this video. So. Thank you to Andy Fox, who kind of worked all weekend and turned this video super quickly so we could share a little teaser here at the board meeting today. I promised that I would go quickly, so I'm not going to go through all of our numbers, but in your packets, you do have all of our paid media numbers for September for leisure and MNC. Also our earned media efforts and the publications we were featured in September. But lastly, I did want to call out quickly as I quickly go through this. Tourism economics, you're all familiar that we've been including a couple of slides in all of our board packets with some of their data. We have expanded this report, and so you will notice it's much lengthier and much more detailed. There's more summaries and key highlights included throughout. I encourage if everyone can kind of take a look through it. We also are changing our scorecard. We've historically had a scorecard Excel sheet in the back of our packets. We're switching it up where this is a new format for us, but we really want to get board feedback on it. If you guys like it, don't like it, if there's something missing, we wanted to include more graphs. Huge shout outs to the finance department and Robert Douglas and their team for working so closely with tourism economics to, really manage all of the details of our organization and translating it into a new reporting system. So please take a look through all of this. You will notice it's much more detailed. We've pulled in elements of our visitor profile study, air passengers, visitor spending, workforce, and of course, those national trends. So I just wanted to call that out, that this is new, it's been updated, it's been expanded, and let us know if you have any feedback, please. I will pass it over to Renee if there are any questions.
Actually, I've already missed the opportunity to
Oh,
go back.
sorry.
And on that packet, was that, Mary, is that what that emailed yesterday?
Yes,
Okay, I
correct.
printed the wrong thing, so I didn't go back.
I can get you a physical copy, Stephen.
Okay, on the M&C wins, just so I remember how we do this, when you see groups that we've had or Taylor or I think the postal carrier, how does that get accounted? When does that go on the list as a new win? Or versus just being on the, do we asterisk it or anything? that
So we,
is existing?
again, thanks, Stephen, and Mike, again for the record. So we identified, for the purposes of today, we just wanted to identify groups that had contracted during a certain time period in the future. There are some groups on there that are repeat, right?
Okay.
Tailhook and CBA. What we could do and should do moving forward is identify those that are new business versus those are legacy accounts that repeat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I thought that's, to your point on that Strava deal, though, that might be a great, I know with,
Yeah.
Good Giant, kind of taking the local, really an effort to get that community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they've done an outstanding job. Obviously, we're extremely biased, but the number of interview opportunities, the number of stories that are being carried local in conjunction with Ben McDonald's efforts has really escalated in the last 60 days. I mean, it's.
I like the Strava thing. I use that for running. It's
Yeah.
a great program, so that's a great.
Join the Reno Tahoe Club.
Well, I think I'm being eligible. Well, I can join the club. but
You
I
can
can't
join
do-
the club, yeah.
That's it. Okay,
So that's
great.
what, to your point, we are looking and working with Good Giant to expand that and create more challenges and do more potential meetups here locally. It's new to us and, we're looking to see how it grows. We already have another partnership with Strava to be promoted through their national brand here after the first of the year. You know, everyone's thinking health and wellness, and as we're seeing that being a new, not new, but an increased, initiative that people are looking for in our destination. So we're gonna kick off another big contest after the first of the year.
Good one.
No, and I think too, it just, when we sat here with the opportunity on the track, right? The room was full of all the enthusiasts, from every segment, from the mature runner to the kids. And I think engaging that community, whether it's volunteer aspects, but I think rallying around, we live here and we see it's one of the best outdoor recreation.
Yeah.
Whether it's biking, running, whatever,
Exactly. Yeah.
but, no, I think it's a great way to engage it.
Yeah, it's a great point, and Christine and the team have done a fabulous job. We meet, we're now meeting literally every other week. We have a committee, we're going through not only the opening ceremonies, but having discussions about how do we truly hit the ground running in so many aspects, not just the track, but this organization.
Right.
And getting so many people involved and we're all in, so it's really positive.
Terrific. If I may, this is such an opportunity because the old days, USA Olympic team used to train up in Palisades now, up in Palisades. So I've got to believe with our altitude, you guys have such a big branding opportunity with the US Olympic training trials, whatever. You guys are automatic.
Yeah, we think that once again, it's getting through the first year of people actually seeing the track, experiencing the track, coming to Reno, word of mouth, obviously advertising, PR, that we're, I don't want to jinx ourselves, but we're very excited about the opportunities moving into the future and what this track represents. This opening ceremonies is going to be, we're very excited about that event as well. We can't announce it yet, but we're very close to contracting a very well-known, renowned name, indoor track enthusiast to be our MC for that event, which will draw, not only regional, but possibly national attention.
Excellent.
All right, I lied, I have two more things
Sorry,
actually, real
sorry.
quick. Oh, sorry. One is just to cover, everyone I'm sure saw the annual plan copy. This is the final annual plan that was approved by the board last meeting, so that's just what's sitting in front of you. Again, shout out to David for designing that, our graphic designer. And then, I also just wanted to share last night and give kudos to Kristen McClellan and the KPS3 team. They were at the, local American Marketing Association Awards last night and got the award for best website design, so, that was a win last night that they could send me, so that's all.
Great. All right. Well, good morning. Renee McGinnis, and I am going to wow you all with some venue numbers for fiscal year 23-24. Just a real quick, overview. Venue Sales and Events, is a team that we have over, at the 4 venues, and we sell everything that the MNC team and the sports sales team does not sell. We do the filler around it. So that's anything that doesn't have a room night. It can be a trade show, it can be a meeting, a banquet, whatever that is. So, and then we also have an events team that fulfills that. So, and they do both. They do the conventions that come in as well as all of the other little events. Okay, and with that, we're gonna look at occupancy. So you can see that the Convention Center, Livestock, and National Bowling Stadium were both down slightly compared to fiscal year 23. And there's 2 sides to this story. So we determine what occupancy is based on square footage. So last year, the Convention Center and the Livestock Event Center was the home for youth sports when we had the fires in September of 2022. For about 2 weeks, we were housing those in our exhibit halls and also in the main arena. And then in, I think it was it May or June? Sometime in the spring, we had the heavy winter, the snow of 23. So we did it again for another couple of weeks. As far as NBS goes, we had the USBC championships in fiscal year 23. And in 24, we had the women's. So that was the difference in occupancy. But the positive side of this, if I go over to the number of events, we have increased at the Convention Center 27 events, Livestock by 16, the REC down by 2, and then the NBS by 32. So we have filled quite more than we had anticipated or that we did in 23. All right, next slide. So these are the numbers, the revenues that we have done for fiscal 23 compared to budget. And if you can see, we are up in all of our venues. That's good news. Next slide. So all venues compared, if we compare to budget, we were up from the budget, $1.7 million. Compared to fiscal 23, we were down $152,000, which is about 2% of our budget. And that is because of the USBC bowlers. Any questions on that? Okay, all right. So, go ahead.
And again, I know I'm asking the question, but actually you've obviously made up in other venues that would have been for that.
Right.
Right?
More than we anticipated,
Right.
for sure, yes.
Great.
So, okay, all right. So our survey scores. So all of the venues determine our success based on what our clients say about us. And this was the annual reported numbers for each venue. So Convention Center and Livestock both received an excellent, and that's anywhere from 90 to 100%. Reno Event Center and NBS is very good, and that is anywhere from 89% to 80%. Our goal is to get them all excellent, and that's what we plan to do in this next fiscal year. Any of you that deal with client surveys know that clients are more likely to fill something out when they're not happy about something versus when they are happy. So the fact that we actually got into those categories, we're all very proud of.
Question for you.
Yeah.
I'm at 81.79.
Yeah.
Was there anything identified that glared out to you that could be changed relatively easy? Or what's your thoughts on that?
Yes, so, well, one is the lighting, so we're fixing the lighting, that's an issue for trade shows that are there. The other is, had to do with some of the concessions, the lines, I'm not sure how we can, because of the way it's shaped.
Right.
But what we are doing, so Aramark is working right now on, rebranding and remodeling or refurbishing the concession stands in REC. In fact, it was, I think it might even be finished. They had started a couple weeks. It is, right? Okay.
Just finished.
Just finished?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, so it is finished. And they've also installed a lot of, I can't remember, they call them mashkins, and that's where you can grab and go. So you can grab something and then scan it, to help mitigate some of those lines.
Great. Any other questions on that? Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So the other side of this, this year we added our venue sponsorship sales manager, Kristen Spracklin. She started very end of December, and she had been gold, $106,000 to sell in sponsorships, and did almost 115,000. So and below are some of the areas and some of the clients that she has booked in all 4 of our different venues. All right, and we're gonna go on to some of the events. So here is the Reno Event Center. Couple of the events here in the upper left-hand corner is Disney on Ice. That ran for 6 nights. PBR, I think that runs for 3 or 4 nights. Each of them, and I wrote down their numbers because I knew I couldn't remember how many people. So Disney on Ice brought in, give me just a second, 19,000 attendees, and PBR brought in 6,300. And then livestock, we have the Arena Cross in the upper left, we have monster trucks, and then we also did the Washoe County School District Employee Meeting. So 7,000 for Washoe County and 5,000 for Arena Cross and 11,000 for the monster trucks. And then over at the Convention Center, that upper left is the Wild Sheep Show, where they had children's archery. They come into the hall and learn about animals and wildlife, and then they also get to do the archery. So that brought in about 15,000 people. We did have the dinosaurs there, Jurassic Quest. They're actually coming back again this year for 3,500 people. Lower right is the Reno Lowrider Show and also the Reno Gem Show or Gem Fair, and both had about 1,500 guests. And then over at the bowling stadium, the top 2 are for the women's USBC championships, lower left, and that was 43,000 people. Lower left was our public bowling day for boxers and buddies, and we did some pet adoptions. And then also the Pan American Male and Female Bowling Championships. And that concludes my presentation. If there's any questions.
Any questions?
How did the art show in September? The art show information?
Oh, I should have put that in there, right? They had 15,000 people, and we can have pictures next time if you want to see, but it was beautiful. It was a great event, and they added a music element this year that they plan on growing.
I
So
heard it was a great event, however, it ran up against the fire.
it
So
did
you
run up against the
probably
fire,
got
yes.
hurt by a lot of people that are interested in our neighborhoods.
A lot of locals,
Yeah.
yes, you're right. You are right. Yeah. Any others?
Any other questions? Okay, anything else, Mike?
That's it, sir.
Okay, bottom of the ninth, can we make sure we put in the records that Chair, she had to leave at 10:10, and then I'll be closing the meeting out. So we are on to, like I said, bottom of the ninth, item F. Board member announcements, reports and updates. Anything?
I'll say something.
Yes.
So I pushed back about getting, the paper booklets. And this is something that I want to give a lot of attention and applause to, Myra. She put together a tablet with the entire packet on there for me. I have been using my own computer in the past, but this is great. I was able to access all.
You were the beta
materials. I'm the beta tester, and I recommend to all, I know that, there's ways to take notes or what have you, but for those that are interested, maybe we could pursue and going paperless and start integrating technology in our board meetings.
I think it's great. We use that at the airport now. At the airport, we have smaller iPads, so just saying that, but no, anything we could do, because I look at all this paper here. And anything we can do to reduce our footprint as far as paper, I'm all for that, and I think that's a great idea. Anything else? Good. I'll wrap up with the airport update. We've got a lot to report. Busy week last week, as all you saw the lightning announcement with the first ever lithium sulfur gigafactory out there. So we're pursuing with that. That's part of the Germany property out there. So we'll be talking directly and getting this moving and getting this happening. They would like to have this up. They're gonna invest almost $1 billion or more out there. And they would like to have the first phase done by 2027. So this is gonna be very exciting up there. As you know, we hosted the air show and that was extremely well attended. That marked the conclusion of 60 years of air racing and show activity at State Airport. We wish the National Championship Air Race Committee the best of luck going down to Roswell, New Mexico. So we'll see how that goes. Very strong summer, as you can see with parking, we've had days, Wednesday and Thursday, where we're tight. One thing is we've never turned the car down. Okay, so that's a message we've got to get out there. Yes, it's tight. We've shuttled employees in, but we're dealing with that. Ground Transportation Center has started preliminary. All the attendants in that northern business park are out now, so that's starting to move forward. So next year you'll see that some groundwork happening on that one. We have 68,000 more seats versus last year, airline seats. So we gotta make sure we get those people in those seats, and not only that, make sure we get their heads in the beds. So those two go hand in hand. Finally, for those of you who watched the city council meeting, we reached an agreement with the city of Reno for the city of Reno Fire to take over fire operations for us. We've been working on this for 4 years now, and we've got everything worked together. I think it's a win-win for everybody, win-win for the airport, city of Reno, but more importantly, a win-win for safety of employees, passengers going in and out of the airport, as well as all the attendants around the airport. We've expanded our footprint with the Dermody project, so Partold South, and then the 2 hotels, and then everything else going on. This was, something that needed to happen. So city council passed it yesterday. The airport board passed it last month, so we're gonna get that happening and I'll keep you up to date with that. So other than that, that concludes item F. Item G, any comments? Yes, I'm sorry.
Question on the airport.
Yes.
So with STED being developed now, what do you guys have long-term plans for STED? Because it becomes a very valuable airport.
It becomes very, yes, and we're gonna be in the process of updating our master plan. So we're working on that one. It's been a while.
Is there a version out there yet, or?
Not yet. And Darren's gonna, Darren gave a great presentation to the city of Reno yesterday. And one of the things he talked in there was, we're gonna be starting our master plan, but I think you're gonna see a lot of exciting things. And I think this kind of opens the doorway because, with Dermody and his phase 1 finishing up now, I think you're gonna see a lot of opportunity up in that state airport.
Well, it's a corporate, it can become a lot of things.
A lot of things, I agree. So I will definitely keep you posted as to what's going on, and maybe we'll put you on that master plan committee.
No, that's fine.
So, okay, anything else? Any public comment?
No public comment at this time.
Okay, perfect. Then can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Second, all in favor? All opposed? Meeting closed. Thanks very much.
Awesome.